Hello and welcome. Freedom in Lockdown. In this series of conversations, we are talking to Pakistani politicians, people from academia, media, intellectuals, writers, people who believe in liberal solutions for this beautiful country, Pakistan. Today, I have with me in the conversation a friend, a politician, a trainer into politics and political solutions. And she's one person whom when I met for the first time, I think it took me 2 minutes and 13 seconds to become friends with her. And our friendship goes a long way. And she's ever charming, ever beautiful, ever energetic, the one and only Ayesha Javed. Assalamu alaikum, Ayesha. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Walaikum assalam, Tauseeq. How are you? Good to see you after a long time, dear.
I'm so very happy that you took out time. Ayesha is a former parliamentarian from Punjab, 2 times parliamentarian, and now she actively works with young parliamentarians across the country in different provincial assemblies, and she trains young sitting parliamentarians into democratic and liberal solutions for the problems of this country. I'm so very looking forward to this interesting conversation, Ayesha. But first of all, before we talk about your professional endeavors and achievements, I would like to ask you that now when you look back, you have been into Parliament 2 times, and now you actively work into democratic and political trainings of parliamentarians. Now when you look back and you talk to a young college student, Ayesha, what does she tell? Is she happy with you? Or she wanted to be a TV actor, or she wanted to be a doctor, or is she happy with you that you became a politician?
Tauseeq, life has turned, I would say, like a lot different from what I was expecting initially. When I was in my college years, I got married very early. Like I was 18 when I got married. And I had to leave my education, my formal education, my college, because my husband was in army, and then I have to just keep moving with him wherever we were posted. And I was not even at that time a very idealistic person. So even in my younger days, I used to take things as they come, and not very idealistic, or I have my plans or anything. So got married, then started having children very early at age. So I was a housewife. But I'm glad that I entered politics because, like I said, things changed so drastically in my life, in my married life, that I thought that it's a very good platform that I can raise my voice and I can do something good for the country. So, and having my background in politics, like my mom was in politics, so this is like for me a second generation. And sometimes I think that things I used to detest, that I am never going to enter politics, and this is not a good field, and there's so much of lies and so much of things not going well that way. So, but I started doing things myself.
The general impression of politicians in this country is like that.
Good.
You have to be a liar, you have to be a hypocrite to be a good politician. You know, that's
the way things are. But I thought that I am going to make some difference. I entered with a passion, and that passion is still with me.
That's really good. Why do you think, talking about the general impression and the branding the politics has in this country, the general branding the politicians have in this country, why do you think, or can this be changed? Because still in Pakistan, there are some, you go to a restaurant and it says, "Siyasat pe baat karna mana hai." You know, talking about politics or political discourse in this restaurant is forbidden. Why do you think this branding, or do you think this branding can change for politicians?
I think definitely the branding can change, but the mindset needs to be changed first. And why do we say that talking politics or something is not allowed? Because it doesn't give you happiness. And when you go out to entertain yourself or your friends, so I think it should be, your primary focus should be something constructive. And talking about politics is taken something like a waste of time. I'll be very honest with you. And if you just see today's scenario, just switch on the telly for the evening shows or the talk shows, what we call them here in Pakistan. They are like all the time they are fighting with each other, and even the anchor or the host, he or she, they are trying to make them fight with each other. Like, look what he's saying. He said that. What do you have to say?
We are bad people. We are really bad people.
Stop fighting. So let me put it like that. It's not something pleasant, but still we have to like, if you are a politician or even if you're not, I think those programs have still given some sort of awareness. They're not all that bad. They have given some sort of awareness to a common man who himself is not in politics, but they are very much interested. And I think as a Pakistani, everybody should know what is happening to your country. They have a right to know that.
Ayesha, your first interaction with Friedrich Naumann Stiftung, FNF Pakistan, was in 2003, 4?
2004, I joined FNF formally, but it was like I started participating in the program. They used to invite me as a guest speaker, and sometimes I used to help them out in arranging guest speakers and arranging good people, politicians. So that was in my humble capacity. And after 4 years, let me put it on record that it was not immediately. Like people, they join organizations just in the want of going abroad or having a free nice trip. So it wasn't like that. After 4 years, I was given an opportunity to go and train myself at Gummersbach. And if I remember, you were my first mentor. And it was, the experience was like just awesome. And that was the first time I decided that, and I thought to myself that, why can't we have something like this in our country? Why not? Because being in a political party, I have seen and I've worked so closely with so many political parties. And I know one thing, that there's one thing which lacks, and that is the element of training your workers. Because first of all, I'm first a worker, a political worker. I don't call myself MP or MNA or whatever. But you have to be a political worker, and then the political worker needs to be trained properly. So there's lack of training. And I must say that whatever achievements I have today, and I would admit it, and I say to everyone that I owe it to Friedrich Naumann Foundation, because they gave me a platform to improve myself, to learn so many things which I could not. And if sometime the political party, they get the chance to send people abroad for training, they send their own favorites. So that's the way it is. It's unfortunate, but it happens like that. But I was somehow handpicked by Friedrich Naumann Foundation, and I went there and I was so much impressed. And I had to interact with so many politicians and so many participants from other countries. It was like a mini United Nations over there. Yeah. So that experience was, it really changed my life. It changed.
You must be still in touch with some of the friends from back then.
Yeah, right? few of them. Yes, definitely.
Okay, so Ayesha, now you are actively working into imparting training. Political training to young parliamentarians. Tell me about the experience, also specifically because you're working now with a cross-section of political parties. You're working with all the major political parties right now in Pakistan with their young parliamentarians. So what do you think? Of course, they come with their own political ideology and they represent a political ideology. But do you think that when you are in a training, casual training atmosphere, are the young parliamentarians of Pakistan, no matter which political party they represent, are they liberal from inside? Do they have liberal values as politicians? I know these are very direct questions, but I'll be interested to know.
Yeah, sure. That's a very important question you asked, Tauseeq, because working with so many politicians over a period of time, like it's almost 20 years or 21 years, you can say. And being in the parliament as well, I know so many people very closely. And one thing which is very interesting is that when they come to forums like FNF, or where they can, the liberal forums where they can voice their opinion, those politicians, they really tend to speak their heart and their mind. And you will be surprised to know that there are so many politicians who are so promising, and they are so intelligent, and they have a certain type of intellect, and you're surprised that how come you don't speak this thing on the floor of the house. But somehow their party affiliations or the bindings are so much, there's so much of restraint on them that mostly they are scared to voice their opinion or say something which is right or which should be said. So when they come to our trainings, they are a totally different breed, believe me. And it is so much, it's like an exhilarating experience, if I can put it like that. And I would not really call it a training session, because for me, it's a mutual learning process. It's not just we are training them, though we have a resource persons and renowned resource person for the subjects, but we learn a lot from them. And it's a sort of a mutual learning, and there's so much of interaction, and they open up and they give so much of good ideas. You know, these trainings, they have given me a lot of hope that our future is really good and promising.
The word liberal in a Pakistani society has some very strong objectionable connotation and meaning. When we talk, when I say I'm a liberal person, so the first two things come in mind are that I must be having alcohol, I must be working for a drug-free society, and I will be hanging out with women all the time. And, you know, so how do you think in the political context, the word liberal can truly be translated to a common man in Pakistan?
I think it is what we can, like, how can I explain the concept of liberalism in politics is through democratic means, because only democratic means can give you or assure you the right to do what you think is right, as long as it's under the limits. So it is not all that easy coming from a particular religion or which is in the majority. It is not all that easy. And people are usually scared to voice their opinion, like I mentioned earlier. And even if they believe in a certain value, they would hesitate in opening up or speaking it openly. No matter how good your idea is, they will be scared because they are not allowed. Our political parties, they are not internally democratic enough to let anybody voice their opinion. And this is seen very commonly on the floor of the House, in the provincial assemblies, in the National Assembly, or even in the Senate. There have been so many incidents where people, if they say something, they voice their opinion in liberal values, they are given a shut-up call very badly. So I think it is the lack of democratic practices inside the party as well, and also inside the floor of the House. I think it's a common issue if you speak about the society. It's not just the politicians.
How was as you told us earlier that you were a young mother and raising children, and it was much later in life that you became a politician and came into active politics, became a political worker. How was the reaction from your husband? How was the reaction from your children?
Oh my God. You really want me to answer that? Sorry.
Absolutely. Yes.
speaking, well, I don't go, this is the way I am. Well, speaking purely from my husband's point of view, he didn't take it very well. And the only support which I got initially, and even now, is from my children.
Oh, really?
Although they were not, yeah, my children, they supported me like anything. And they encouraged me that, no, mom, you should do it, and you can do it. You have the capacity, you have the energy, and you have the ideas. Just go about it and do it, and keep yourself busy. Wow, just don't remain in the house, and don't worry about us. We'll take care of ourselves. But I also used to make sure that my timings are like that, that I don't have to go out much in the evening once my children, they're back from school. And but then my children, they supported me. Even now, they are the driving force behind me, if I can
Interesting.
say.
Interesting.
Yes.
How is the feeling and experience to be a grandmother?
Oh, it's beautiful. I think more than being a mother, it's a feeling of being a grandmother now. Because like I said, I got married very early, and I was still 19 when my first daughter was born. So I was done at 24. I was done with all three children. I've got two daughters and a son, and two daughters are married. They've got one child each. So it's a beautiful feeling. It's a beautiful feeling. Though none of them is in Pakistan, my children, all of them, they are working abroad, and I'm in a way alone, and I miss my family a lot.
Aisha, it's it's a tough going for women to be in politics in a society like Pakistan, because you are discriminated upon, and you are called with names, and so it's not an easy, it's not a it is a turbulent flight. We know that. What would you like to tell young women politicians how to go about? Should they come head on with men politicians? Should they be diplomatic? How do they, what is the solution to this discriminatory approach towards women in politics?
So see, there are certain things which are part of the society, and which probably might take a long time for us to change. Like I said, it's a mindset. So I won't say much about it, but as you asked, I think what I can advise, because I'm in that age group, like I can advise, because being through so many things myself and having a lot of experience for at least 20 years, I think the women or the girls, they need to educate themselves about the politics or the political parties or the system first. Because you have to be, if not better, you have to be at least as good as your counterparts, your male counterparts. And another thing I would like to add is, the sort of a person I am, I would never desire a thing unless I deserve it. So there's a difference.
Uh-huh.
When I entered politics, there were no female reserve seats. There was no female MP or MNA or like that. So we entered, like women of my age group, we entered with a passion, with a passion to work for the political party. And eventually it turned out that the seats were given, the quota was allocated for the women. But though I have been a beneficiary for this of this system, but personally I'm against this quota system. In my opinion, the political parties should have their own quotas, and they should nominate women to the general seats as well. But because women empowerment, part of it goes to financial empowerment. So that's a very big hindrance in women getting seats for the general elections as well, for the general seat as well.
Your
Most of them, they are either their father, their husband,
Mhm.
or their brother, or the family, they contest on those seats. It
Yeah.
is hardly seen that a woman can just go on, carry on all by herself.
Aisha, you also have experienced very turbulent times in your political career. You've been house arrested, you've been jailed. Tell me, from a personal experience, tell me, your memories or your experiences of being jailed. How was that experience?
Well, I was given jail for 3 times. First was in Kot Lakhpat, which was a model jail. It was not all that bad. So the conditions were not all that bad. The second time it was in Sahiwal, and it was like terrible. And the third one was in Multan jail, and I was given the death cell. It was almost, last time was end of May, 28th May. And as you know, Multan, our beloved city, is extremely hot in that time. It was not good. It was terrible. And coming from whatever background you have, the experience of jail can never be good or nice. So it was not an A-class jail or a jail given to the politicians like that, sometimes which is given by NAB or something. So it was not a very good experience. And what I can recall now is that the bathrooms were not good. The toilet was not good. The food was not good. And it was extremely bad. And most importantly, there was no communication with the family. I was not allowed to see or meet anyone. I was not carrying any money. I was not carrying any clothes, because when I was arrested, I was in like my shalwar kameez dupatta, exactly 3-piece. That's about all. And spending 10 days in just those clothes, it's terrible. You can't take bath properly, and you can't, but whatever is there. I remember just borrowing a little bit of washing powder from some other cellmate. And I remember washing my hair from that washing powder. So it was, but then I was very much spirited. And I thought that my spirits were not dampened at all, even when I was released.
Did you have a good time to talk to yourself?
Everything was going.
Did you use that time to intellectually and emotionally talk to yourself?
No, not at that time. Not at that time. It was only in lockdown time. It was only lockdown time, like since last year, that I had time to contemplate and think about what my life is, what's going on around, and otherwise, but definitely not in jail.
What would you like to change about your life, Ayesha?
If I am given a chance?
Yes.
I would, yes, definitely. I would like to first educate myself properly, because I still feel, although I tried to complete my formal education, I did my graduation after my marriage, and then my master's in political science after my marriage, after my third child was born, but still I feel handicapped, that I should have done something better. I should have gone into some professional studies.
Oh,
so that's the one thing I would like to change. Otherwise,
one question, Ayesha, that I'm asking every guest of this series, of this Freedom in Lockdown series, is that if you get a magic wand, what is one thing you would like to change about this country? Rato Rat kuch change karna. Anything that overnight you want to change with a magic wand. What is that thing about Pakistan?
Oh my God. I think
there are many.
Corruption. It has to be like finished once and for all. And it has to start from top to bottom, not just one person. It has to be across board.
What are your hobbies, Ayesha? What keeps
you a very good, smooth life.
What are your hobbies? What keeps you?
Book reading. I keep myself in my books, and and I do my housework as well. In lockdown, I try to learn Hindi language, the script. So I downloaded, my son, he asked me to download that application Duolingo.
Yeah.
So I have learned to read the Hindi script now. I can read it.
Interesting. Yes. Okay, Aisha, tell me, you earlier mentioned that you're very hopeful with young parliamentarians and young
Yes.
politicians, no matter what political ideological background they come from. Uh, uh, yes, you are hopeful. Absolutely. That's good news. That's a good news coming from you. But my question is that these young parliamentarians, do you not think uh, that with time, our every like other parts of the society, we are becoming very, very polar. That we don't search for common ground to interact and find solutions. Just like the talk shows in the evening that you were mentioning, even
Yes.
in within the parliament also, do you think we have become ideologically very polar? Okay, this is me and this is you, and we cannot. So are they ready to search for a common ground to find solutions for this country?
Um, Talking individually, you will find a lot of young parliamentarians, and not just young parliamentarians, um, parliamentarians in the, I would say, mid-career, the middle tier as well, who have the same feelings or the same ideologies like what you are talking about. But the upper tier, I think it has to start from that, because our political parties are they're not ideological parties. They are um, person oriented. Like, you, if whatever or whoever is at the top, he or she, if something is said from the leadership, they have to follow it blindly. They have to just, even no matter how good idea somebody has, but they just have to follow it blindly. And this runs in major political parties. This like what we say, like calling the spade a spade, or we call it in Urdu ha mein ha milani. That
Mhm.
is, it's not good. It's not serving anything, and it's not taking us anywhere. And if you come
What-
and visit the libraries of the parliament, and just go through the books, where, because everything, the speeches are documented, and if you just go through the speeches which are documented almost 30 or 40 or 50 years back of parliamentarians, you will be surprised to know that they have so much to offer. They had so much of substance. It was not, they were not appreciating or like just congratulating their own party on not doing anything. So uh, there were so many speeches you can, and those people were exactly, they were not formally educated, believe me. And sometimes they used to come and in their own dhoti and their pagdi and their traditional dresses, but so much of good input was given by them.
Do these young parliamentarians and young politicians, do they make use of those that library material? No.
No, not at all. It's unfortunate. With a heavy heart, I have to say that they do not. It's hardly anybody. It's hardly anybody. When somebody speaks on the floor of the house, they are given a chance, or they have something. All the time, it's sad, but they are either looking at their parliamentary leader, or they are looking at the media, the press gallery. Is it being recorded? Am I going to come in the news? They are also trying to make things, make themselves very pertinent for the news, sensationalize. So that is something which sells. It should not be like that. I think we need to correct the concepts of the media as well. And the media sells what is what.
Okay, give me an answer, well thought. Does media need politicians, or do politicians need media?
Uh, I think they have to remain within their own limits,
They have
because
to.
sometimes, yes, sometimes there's too much of interference from the media in their personal lives, which should not be there. And then the politicians should also remain within their parameters. They should not interfere in the reportings in the media.
Mhm.
So when it everybody has to remain in their own realm.
Mhm.
It is not like that. We cannot expect media not to say anything, or the politicians not to say. It is like they have to go together. They have to go together, but remaining in their own fields. Because the politicians, they try to control everybody around. That's a thing. And the media, it manipulates. It should be an opinion maker and reporter in a proper, correct sense.
Ayesha,
investigative reporting.
The foundation, Fresh Human Foundation Pakistan, is now actually working in with this country and in this country for the last more than 30 years, about 35 years. How do you see, and you've been associated with the foundation since many, many years now. How do you see the foundation's work in this country, especially for politicians like yourselves?
Well, I consider FNF, at least, it's like my family, seriously speaking. And I think it goes for most of the alumni, what I feel. And I feel very strongly towards FNF, the contribution it has made over a number of years, particularly in, if I say, in form of trainings, and it has given a lot of opportunity, starting from the electoral processes, teaching them the registration processes, and so many things. There are so many subjects which FNF is working, and it has worked. And I must say that at least, if not, they have tried to make some difference in the society, which is very positive, because most of the NGOs I know and I work with as well, they have their own political agenda. This is something very important. FNF is perhaps the only NGO which does not push its agenda. Mm-hmm. It steers you rather than imposing their own philosophy or their ideology mm-hmm. on the politicians or the society, which makes it apart from other NGOs. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason I'm with it, because I am a very patriotic person and I would never take anything said or done against Pakistan. Mm-hmm. So in my entire affiliation with FNF, never ever have I felt that something is being done against the interest of my country. In fact, whatever they have done, it is always in the interest of Pakistan. And if we have such a brilliant NGO in the form of FNF, I think instead of them supporting us, we should support them.
Ayesha, do you see yourself back in Parliament in the coming 5-10 years?
Oh, well, let's see. You can never bet. But at the moment, I'm really very happy, keeping myself independent, and then doing all these trainings. And because I am still a politician, and I still go to the assemblies, and I have a very good working relationship with so many parliamentarians from Karachi, from KPK, and Balochistan as well. So Punjab is a home ground, but still.
It was a pleasure talking to you, and thank you very much for taking out time for
this session. You. I am honored, Tauseeq, for having me.
Thank you very much. All the best. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
And thank you very much, all of you, for watching this very interesting heart-to-heart conversation with Ayesha Javed, former parliamentarian 2 times from Punjab Assembly. And also she talked about her experiences as a woman politician, her aspirations, her feeling for this country and the politics in this country. This series, Freedom in Lockdown, we bring to you our colleagues, our friends who have been working in one way or the directly or indirectly with the Fresh Human Foundation Pakistan, and what interesting thoughts and feelings are unfolded every evening at 9 p.m. Pakistan. So take good care of yourselves, and if you like these conversations, please comment, or if you have any advice, please comment in the comment section below and share it with other friends as well. Take good care. Bye-bye.